on, because this is our final session of the day. I'm going to whip through a few questions for you, if you don't mind. Starting with, when you visit sites, what are the most common silo problems that you see?
So the most common silo problems that we see are typically powder around the PRV and sites or pressure relief valve, and sites thinking that this is normal and this is how things should be. But that's actually happened because there's been an overpressurization on the silo. So that's one of the most common things. The other quite often is that equipment is fitted, but it's not fail-safe. So the sites do not know if the equipment's still working or not. It's not going to tell them when it's not working, and that can cause a false sense of security on site, thinking that they've got the silo protected when they actually haven't. And the third thing is really, we do run some courses, NPQC courses on silo safety, and one of the big things that we've found across all levels, whether it's from director down to operatives on site or health and safety professionals or the delivery drivers themselves, that education in the industry about this problem is quite poor, and knowledge on site of why things happen and also the correct equipment to put on the silos is quite poor, and it's certainly an area that needs improving across the industry.
You give a figure there of approximately 10,000 silo overpressurization events in the UK every year. I mean, that's an extraordinary figure. Is it really that bad?
It is a large number, but you've also got to consider that there's probably around 4,000 silos across the industry. A lot of this overpressure event, such as PRVs going off and releasing powder into the atmosphere, is actually going unreported. A lot of people don't think that they have a problem, but certainly when we go to sites and we survey silos and we check the equipment and we check the silos, we see on a daily basis PRVs with a lot of powder around them. And that's not just one overpressure event, that's a number of overpressure events that have occurred. And the systems that we supply also log events. So we can look at, and we have looked at a series of over 250 silos and seen just across those silos well over 4,000 events over a 12-month period just on 250 silos. So 10,000 may be an underestimate.
So this is happening over and over again to the same silos.
Yeah, and because it's at height, some of these silos can be 15, 20 meters tall. People don't like working at height, and a lot of it's out of sight and out of mind as well. And if nothing's logging or warning that you've got a problem or you've had an event, you could end up with an overpressure and powder coming out of the silo and it going completely unnoticed because people can't see it at the top of the silo, and people don't want to go up there, especially in the winter when there's harsh weather conditions. It might not be safe to go up there. So there are a huge number of these events happening, and we have statistics to prove that as well.
So in a way, although powder is your kind of first big clue, lots of people don't spot it. And also by that point, it's already happening, isn't it?
It's already happening. And the big danger is that a lot of these silos have only got a PRV for protection against overpressure. And what tends to happen is that you will get a little amount of powder coming out of that PRV, and that'll increase over time. And if your only form of protecting the silo against overpressurization, ultimately what could happen is that silo could split or eject a filter from the top of the silo, and that land down on the ground, and ultimately that could cause a fatality. What happens is, if this powder is continually coming out, what can happen is that seizes up the PRV and it blocks the PRV. So their only form of protection against overpressurization is no longer working. And no one knows, and there's no other warnings on the silo, and that can lead to catastrophic events which we've seen in the industry.
You said that you should never open the pressure relief valve, but surely that's not possible, is it?
It is. You just need the right equipment on the silo. The pressure relief valve is the last line of defence, and that should not open. What you need is a primary pressure protection, which is a pressure sensor, which detects the increase in pressure in the silo before it ever reaches the point that the pressure relief valve goes off. That's linked back to an auto shut-off valve on the fill line. So when that increase in pressure is detected, it immediately shuts the delivery driver down before the pressure can increase to allow the pressure relief valve to go off. Now, to ensure that that pressure relief valve is working, number one, it needs to, the pressure switch is working and the valve at the fill point is working. They both need to be fail-safe. So if they have a problem, if they stop working, then there's a warning to the site and the operatives, and they can stop the delivery commencing and say, look, we've got a problem with the protection, the safety system here. We can't proceed because it's not safe. Because if that system's working and tested and it's fail-safe, then it should always shut the delivery down before the pressure in the silo gets to a point where the pressure relief valve goes off. If you have a pressure sensor on a silo and an auto shut-off system installed, and you're still getting powder out of the pressure relief valve, then that system isn't working. And that could be down to the fact that it's not fail-safe, and also down to maintenance schedules and whether that system's been tested correctly during the maintenance procedures.
Dave Wadsworth from High Control, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.